UFC Fight Night Vegas 85, Dolidze versus Imavov just took place, and I'm going to go through the entire card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main events, giving my reaction and breakdown to every single fight on the card and my overall event recap as well, starting with the early prelim opener of Thomas Petersen versus Jamal Pogues. So, actually kind of a close fight. I was rewatching this anytime there was a finish in any of the other fights because I missed it to begin with. I'm not sad I missed it because yet again, these two guys should not be heavyweights. They are fat welterweight / middleweights. There's no excuse for me to be in better shape than you. And I know that a lot of people cope that, I'm in better shape than both of them, man. Maybe I can't do 3 hard rounds, but still, there's no excuse. You're not big, you're 6'1", you're small, move down a weight class. I'm sick of seeing these fat heavyweights. But then again, they wouldn't be in the UFC if not. But yeah, Petersen got a takedown at the end of round 1. Didn't do too much with it. Before that, Jamal Pogues was landing the better shots on the feet. And he just consistently landed the better shots on the feet out of the two of them. Petersen made it close. He did make it close. He landed some good shots of his own. But Pogues was the cleaner boxer, so he won the fight. We move on. Up the card, Landon Quinones versus Marquel Mederos. Kind of an uneventful fight, to be honest with you guys. Marquel Mederos did win the fight, in my opinion, but a couple groin shots here and there. I think in the later rounds, there was 2 groin shots from Marquel Mederos. I think there was an eye poke at some point as well from him, but he just had the cleaner boxing in this fight. He landed low kicks, cleaner boxing, a little bit of stuff going on up against the cage. Pretty dull fight overall, but Marquel Mederos wins the fight by decision, picked him to win as well, and he got the job done. We move on. Up the card, Luana Carolina versus Julija Stoliarenko. Luana Carolina won the fight. Julija Stoliarenko was doing good though. She had moments where she was on top control and she was even going for arm bars off bottom position after Luana Carolina took her down. Don't know why she was trying to take her down, but she was doing it. And Julija Stoliarenko would go for arm bars and then Luana Carolina would escape them just in time. And it's the move that Julija Stoliarenko goes for, But this fight was really finished after, in the 3rd round, as Julija Stoliarenko's getting back up. A lot of people saw it as she got wobbled by a punch and then put away on the ground in the crucifix with punches. I didn't see it that way. First of all, Stoliarenko got Mike Malleted pretty much to Luana Carolina's Neil Magny, if you will. But when Julija Stoliarenko was getting back up in the 3rd round, she crumpled her ankle under her own body weight, funnily enough. And she started getting drop foot afterwards. So although she could have been rocked by that punch, she actually got back up in the 3rd and took a funny step and completely rolled her ankle. And then she kept rolling that same ankle as Luana Carolina was going for her, eventually getting the finish in the fight. So good job, Luana Carolina. Picked her to win as an underdog and she got the job done. We move on. Up the card, Yeong versus Blake Bilder. I picked Yeong. A lot of people were picking Blake Bilder here. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is a, have you watched Blake Bilder and Jeong fight before? Or Jeong Lee fight before? They do it in reverse order for some reason. If you've watched Blake Bilder fight, you'll know he doesn't excel anywhere. He's got great jiu-jitsu, but he can't get fights to the ground. He doesn't have good takedowns. He doesn't have good entries for his takedowns. His grappling is subpar, but his jiu-jitsu is really good. But if he can't get there, what's the point? And his stand-up isn't good, and he keeps his chin up in the air. So, in my opinion, this was, have you actually done your research? Jeong Lee is way better than Blake Bilder. On the feet, good takedown defense, big, strong for the division, and the body shots that he was landing early in that fight were money as well. They really did slow down Blake Bilder in the later rounds. I actually think Jeong could have got a finish in round 1, but he kind of fumbled it, ending up in the clinch against Blake Bilder. But again, not a very eventful fight, but Jeong did what he needed to do, worked in a couple of takedowns of his own. Really good job from him. He gets the job done by decision, and Korean needs a prospect, so we're rooting for Jeong Lee. We move on. Themba Gorimbo versus Pete Rodriguez. Not how I expected this fight to go. I picked Themba Gorimbo to win because I think Pete Rodriguez is just... We don't even know if he's good yet, and he's in the UFC because he filled in to fight JDM, got really badly KO'd in round 1, and then what do you know, he got KO'd by Themba Gorimbo as well. So I guess he'll be used as a sort of against another not very good welterweight. They'll probably match them up against each other, and the loser will go home, winner will stay on type thing. But Themba Gorimbo lands a KO in round 1 with a right hand right on the side of Pete Rodriguez's face, right across the jaw and the neck, and puts down Pete Rodriguez in round 1. Nasty finish. Rodriguez had good recovery, but I think it was a good stoppage because he did look like he went limp when the referee stepped in, even though he immediately recovered afterwards and started even grappling with the ref. But Themba Gorimbo gets it done. I thought he was going to win this one by either late finish or decision with his grappling, but he showed that he's nasty on the feet. And I think Pete Rodriguez was thinking, okay, this guy's going to avoid the exchange and then try and get me down or then try and pick me apart in the later rounds. But Themba surprised him by throwing down in the exchange and actually caught Rodriguez right on the jaw. Good job by Themba Gorimbo. We move on. Azat Maksum versus Charles Johnson. Unless you're Aaron Bronstetter, this was 2-1 Charles Johnson with an argument for 10-8 in the first round. I actually think if Alexa Grasso's getting a 10-8 against Valentina Shevchenko, why is Azat Maksum not getting one? That's something we have to have a discussion about, because Azat Maksum dropped him badly in the first round, hurt him in that round, landed follow-up shots, had a locked in, I think it was an anaconda choke if I remember correctly, for a very long time. Now, Johnson did the right things to improve his position, and it wasn't fully locked in or cinched up well enough, but he had him in the anaconda choke for about a minute straight in that round. How's that not a 10-8 round? I don't understand how that's not a 10-8. And he won the rest of the round anyway. Either way, give Alexa Grasso one against Shevchenko for landing some ground and pound with the last 10 seconds after one takedown after losing the whole fucking round. Whatever. Charles Johnson, yeah, he won the fight though. Good work. Round 2 and 3 showed great takedown defense. This was a pick I wasn't too confident in because Azat Maksum has that Habib record where they fight nothing but people that are there to lose to them for the first 15 fights of their career, and it gives them time without taking any damage to improve as a fighter. If all fighters had that, there'd be more undefeated fighters, but Azat wasn't ready for the step up. Johnson has great takedown defense and better than anything else in the division. He showed this against Makhachev. Why didn't I pick Azat Maksum? It's because Makhachev, he looks bad against a lot of people, you know what I mean? So I didn't single out Johnson as, well, he looked good against Makhachev, but Johnson looked good. Outstruck him in the later 2 rounds. Got his own takedowns as well. And just dominated Azat Maksum. He even had Azat Maksum's back in the second. But in the last 2 rounds, he clearly beat Azat Maksum. Only a blind man like Aaron Bronstetter could think that Johnson won. That can think that Azat Maksum won that fight. So, great job, Charles Johnson. We move on. Molly McCann versus Diana Belbita. You know what? Everyone trashes Molly McCann. 1 second left on the clock, by the way. Why are you tapping Diana Belbita? But fair enough, her arm did get snapped by the looks of it. Molly McCann gets trashed by everyone. She looked really good in this fight. Looked good on the scale. Definitely did the weight cut well down to 115 pounds. She's always been a meatball for 125 pounds. Short, stocky, short arms, you know what I mean? A lot of weight around the torso. Okay, I'm not fat shaming here, I'm just saying. That's where her body weight was localized, right? But at strawweight, I think she's going to be a lot stronger. She looked like it in this fight, got the takedowns, picked up Belbita, dunked her on the ground, got dominant position in full mount. You could see she was thinking about going for the armbar earlier, but she wanted to almost wait until it was such little time left on the clock to where if she failed the armbar, she would not be in a bad position. You know what I mean? She wanted to wait until it was guaranteed that if she went for the armbar, there'd be no way Belbita could claw back the round. So she saved her time, elbowed up Diana Belbita on top position. Belbita was actually giving her the armbar for about a minute straight, but Molly McCann was like, no, I'll wait. Landed some shots first, broke her will a little bit, and then went for the armbar. So really good job, Molly McCann. Landed good shots on the feet, landed a spinning elbow as well. Elbow in the guard of Diana Belbita. And Belbita loses. Kind of saw this one coming. Good job, Molly McCann. Great performance. We move on. Up the card, Gilbert Urbina versus Charles Radtke. Say it again, Radtke! Now, you couldn't have Charles Radtke say it again. The fight after Molly McCann won. You know what I'm saying? Radtke kept it controlled in the post-fight interview. Still a good post-fight interview. Called out Australians, I guess, for what he said at the last one. He even asked DC, you nervous? Because I bet DC was, because he did the interview last time when Radtke shocked the world, let's just say. But Gilbert Urbina wasn't getting respect at range on the feet. Radtke was able to find his way into the pocket and land a vicious left hook. Textbook, shoulder behind it, No telegraph, landed a left hook counter, put down Urbina, let him back up, landed another big shot, put him away for good. Amazing win by Charles Radtke. Urbina never recovered from the initial knockdown that he received off Radtke. So, great win from Radtke, dude. We move on. Up the card, Salikhov Khizriev versus Muradov. A ruined fight. Should probably put it on the Saudi Arabia card as a rematch maybe, or whenever Muradov's going to be recovered. This seems like a Saudi Arabia type vibe, you know what I mean? But yeah, Salikhov Khizriev, I poked Muradov immediately in the first round within about 11 seconds. Yep, 11 seconds actually. And Muradov couldn't continue. And it wasn't a situation where you can be like, oh, what a coward looking for a way out. This wasn't a guy looking for a way out. You could visibly see there's certain time you can't fake just opening one eye and the other one ain't opening. This wasn't like Jeremy Stevens against Yair, which could have been the same way, by the way. It could have been sealed shut anyway, but Muradov's eye would not open. And if it wouldn't open, I literally said it from the get-go. Dude, his eye is not opening. You can see the muscle in his eye, like, twisted up and contorted to keep it shut. And he kept doing this, and he just couldn't open his eye at all. It didn't even move. Like, you know when I do this? You can see that my cheek is like, keep it closed, keep it closed. With Muradov, it wasn't even like his cheek was doing that. It was just like, no, this shit ain't opening. It ain't moving whatsoever. So it ended up getting called off. Terrible. We move on. Viviane Araújo versus Natalia Silva. Tough first round for Natalia Silva. Very tough first round. Not a tough first round, but a round that if it was male MMA, it would have been separated for stalling up against a cage, let's be honest. So pretty tough round for her. She got taken down. She got held up against a cage the whole round. Arguably did more damage anyway, though, if we're being honest, because she landed better shots in that round. Then round 2 and 3, she just started to outpoint and outstrike Viviane Araújo, stuff the takedowns that Araújo was going for, and pick her apart on the feet at range with kicks, with side kicks to the body, spinning back kicks now and again. Natalia Silva's a good women's MMA striker. Very impressive performance against Viviane Araújo, who made it probably as close against Alexa Grasso. So Natalia Silva needs to take a bit more time. She's young, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just going to double check it right now. I think she's pretty young. She's 27, yeah. Take some time. There's no rush here. You know what I mean? You look at the rankings. We're seeing big names from here on out in the women's flyweight division. She just beat Araújo. She's going to be in the top 10 here. She's already number 9, so she's probably going to be number 7. Yeah, start picking wisely here. You know, I don't mind a step back fight for a second. And then we move up to the top. Let's actually get a prospect to the top here. We move on. Up the card, Randy Brown versus Muslim Salikhov. I picked Randy Brown. Muslim Salikhov, if you watched his last few fights, he's not the same guy. Not as explosive, not as dangerous. He's old. Like, you know what I mean? He's very, very old and very, very ploddy and slow. And that was immediately apparent that Randy Brown had a massive speed advantage over him. 39 years old, Muslim Salikhov. You know, he's getting up there. And Randy Brown was too fast. Was getting low kicked quite a bit early on by Muslim Salikhov. Like, Salikhov was doing good and he was going for his wheel kick. But again, Randy Brown is not 5'9" like you at welterweight. He's 6'2". Like, he's a long, rangy dude for the welterweight division. I don't even know how tall Randy Brown is. He might even be taller than 6'2" for welterweight. Either way, he's a long, rangy, tall dude for the welterweight division. You're not going to land your wheel kicks on him, bro. You know what I mean? So he got caught with his hands down, with a 1-2 that glanced right off his top set of teeth, right off the gum shield. Just like Bobby Green versus Jalen Turner, someone brought up. Very similar KO, except it wasn't, you know, it wasn't allowed to be a near funeral after Bobby Green was beaten unconscious multiple times afterwards. Randy Brown finished the fight in round 1 with a vicious KO. Called out a big name opponent. I don't think he'll get one yet. I like a Gunnar Nelson matchup for him. Something along those lines. Not a UFC 300, though. Let's keep UFC 300 for the best of the best to fill out the rest of that card. But yeah, Randy Brown, Gunnar Nelson, Chaos Williams, Joaquin Buckley, some of these matchups against people that are just outside the rankings would be perfect for him. We move on. Up the card, Renato Moicano versus Drew Dober. I've already made a whole video about the post-fight interview. But let me just save all these timestamps in case I need to re-upload it at all. But Renato Moicano wins the fight. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to say it to his face when we do our interview together. Calls me out in the post-fight interview. The fight, though, you could see he'd been out for a while. Now, I'm just going to be honest in my reaction to the fight and how I'm going to break it down. Moicano won the fight. He did. I gave him rounds 1 and 3. He got the takedowns in the fight, and that's what he needed to do. And once he got the takedowns, Drew Dober didn't get back up. You know what I mean? He got half guard. He stayed safe. He tried to pass him out now and again, but Dober kept recovering to half guard and then recovering to full guard. So he was like, okay, I'm just going to stay in half guard here and do enough to where the referee's not going to step in. He had a shoulder injury, apparently, going into this fight. But at the end of the day, it wasn't the most fun fight. It was pretty boring. Not much happened at all. Kind of just laid on Drew Dober, if we're being honest. I gave Dober round 2 on damage. I'm still not sure if the cut was open from a head clash or a punch. I guess that will decide whether or not he wins that round, because he actually reversed position at the end of round 2, ended up on top and landed some elbows. Renato Moicano wins round 3. The reason he won round 3, though, well, not the reason, he could have got a takedown afterwards, but Drew Dober really messed up, because he went for like a throw on Moicano. Now, he got it in round 2, but he got it in round 2 after kind of stunning Moicano on the feet. Then he got it. He went for a body shot, crumpled Moicano a bit in the middle of his shot, and then threw him over him with a lateral drop and got on top with the takedown. But in round 3, he tried the same thing instead of just separating from Moicano. I don't know why he did that. Now, fair enough, if he ended up on top, he would have won. But that was a really bad fight IQ moment from Dober. He went for a trip and throw. You're the striker. Separate here. We don't need to get tangled up with Moicano on the ground. He's great on the ground. And Moicano was good on the ground, just not in an entertaining way. But good win from Moicano. Called me out in the post-fight interview, live on the UFC broadcast. One of the best moments that I've had since starting the YouTube channel. The best moment. I've been doing this for 5 years. No fighter's ever acknowledged me on the UFC broadcast. So shout out to Renato Moicano, moneymoicano.com, Renato Moicano, Money Moicano on YouTube. Check out all his stuff. I made a whole video about it on the channel if you want to hear more about his post-fight interview. But at the end of the day, a lot of people are saying, lol, he called out MMA Guru. Yeah, just trash him. Yeah, fuck MMA Guru. Moicano, we've been going back and forth for like a year on YouTube. You know what I mean? I've been raiding his stream. He's popped into the stream. He's mentioned me on his stream a few times. He mentioned me to Vicente Luque because Luque's one of my favorite fighters. He got that little clip for us. So Moicano's, he looked at the whole Aljamain Sterling beef and backed me up when originally Aljo called me out for being in a wheelchair. He immediately saw it as a meme. So me and Moicano have been cool for a year. And I actually messaged him on Instagram. I'm going to find what I messaged him right now. And he ignored me. Which I guess was for this payoff, right? That he was going to trash me on thingy. Sorry, let me get through. I got some messages here. Where's the message to Renato? I said, fight week collab on my channel. Heads up, I'm picking Dober because you're a little too tanned. Feel like this would be a great debate/interview. I'll keep it professional, but feel free to call me fat and insult me. It will be funny. That's what I said to him on Instagram. Because I picked Dober. We jokingly go back and forth on the channel about it. And then we see what happens. It would have built hype for the fight. But he killed it anyway. Made most of the post-fight interview. Was talking on his live stream in the ambulance afterwards. Said that it's all love, you know. He respects what I'm doing for the channel and stuff like that. So, yeah. Good stuff. Really cool. Made a whole video about it. Go check it out. Let's talk about the main event. Roman Dolidze versus Nassourdine Imavov. I'm telling you this right now. I'm going to check Tapology to see if they had, how many people had who winning. A lot of people were picking Roman Dolidze here. A lot of people were picking Roman Dolidze. Yeah, the majority of people were picking Roman Dolidze. Telling you this right now. If you picked Roman Dolidze, you ain't doing research on fights. It's as simple as that. You just ain't doing research on fights. Dolidze, I said this going into the fight, and this is why I picked Nassourdine Imavov to win. By finish, I picked him to win, which he nearly did. We can talk about the illegal knee and stuff, or the legal kick, which should be legal. Stop giving these cowards like Dolidze and Muradov and, you know, Makayev and these guys that take advantage of that rule, and Evloev. I don't know whereabouts in the world they're from. But stop giving them a chance to be cowards and shoot takedowns with no backlash for them. Now, Imavov smartly should have thrown punches. I don't know why he kept going for the kick. You know it's illegal. Don't risk it. And by the way, it wasn't illegal because he wasn't weight-bearing on his hand. He was playing the game, which in Vegas, not in Vancouver this time, because Arnold Allen, which I got called out for. But in Vegas, in the US, that is a legal kick, Herb Dean. Why do the refs not understand the fucking rules? Not let alone it's a bullshit rule. The refs don't even know how to enforce it. But yeah, Roman Dolidze was playing the game, got kicked in the head. But Imavov, I'm telling you, if you pick Dolidze, rethink some things, man. You got to watch tape on fighters. Dolidze, yeah, I've been saying this for years about him. He cannot strike, has nothing to offer on the feet. Nearly lost to Marvin Vettori, okay? Has nothing to offer on the feet and cannot take down opponents. Has never been able to take down opponents. His wins come by way of guys going for him on the ground, him subbing them or messing them up, and then beating them on the feet. He even had like a Laureano Strapoli guy from welterweight, some trash guy from welterweight, Argentinian fighter. Probably not trash, sorry. But Laureano Strapoli moved up. He just held him against the cage the whole time. This guy lost to Trevin Giles. Arguably should have lost to Trevin Giles, maybe. I can't remember the result of the fight. But either way, Dolidze has been overrated for a long time. I've always said that. And this fight was the proof of it. He can't do anything. He can't take people down and he can't strike. So he's stuck as a jiu-jitsu guy who's big and strong rather than soy and weak like most jiu-jitsu guys are. He was just stuck on the feet with Imavov, who's better than him on the feet, can't be taken down as well. Ended up on the ground at some moments from his own accord, sometimes going for top position and stuff, which he shouldn't have been doing, and ended up in like leg entanglements and shit. But yeah, I can't believe it was a majority decision. Imavov clearly won the fight. No point should have been taken away. And some refs didn't even give him 10-8 in round one. He dropped, nearly finished Dolidze with a beautiful shot. Net a knee to the face, a legal knee to the face. Put down Dolidze, beat him up, had an armbar locked in, still didn't get him a 10-8 round. Just don't understand. Wasn't the best performance from Imavov, but if you knew anything about this fight in the build-up, you would know Dolidze can't take people down. Imavov has wicked takedown defense. You ain't taking him down. He was out grappling Chris Curtis, taking down Chris Curtis, who has phenomenal takedown defense. And they had beef as well. I guess we could talk about that. Stay in your lane, Chris Curtis. Your boy Dolidze just lost, and here you are looking for your big chance to get a fight against a ranked opponent again. I don't mind seeing the fight. I really don't. If they go to Paris at some point in May or June, who knows? Gane versus Pavlovich main event. Imavov Curtis, but stay in your lane, man. Quit yapping. He was yapping when the kick to a grounded opponent was landed. Even though Dolidze wasn't grounded, he was complaining about that as well, and Imavov actually went after him. And I think if Imavov didn't go after him, Herb Dean wouldn't have actually taken away a point. Because I think he saw that Imavov was emotional and angry and was like, okay, there might be some intent behind this foul. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Imavov won the fight, obviously. This was a casual check. You can't pick Dolidze in this fight, man. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle pip. See you later. Goodbye. I did well on predictions. Shout out Renato Moicano.